Hey guys, it's Brindley, and I'm so excited. I'm always excited, but I'm excited tonight to have some time with you just to have a conversation. Just want to talk to you a little bit tonight about one of my favorite topics, and one of the things that really has helped me throughout the years. It helped me in the beginning, after the accident, and it's continuing to help me. I've had a lot of people ask me. I actually had a friend call me, I guess it was last Thursday night, and they said, okay, I'm calling to see if it's all real. I see you everywhere. You look great. You're positive. What's really going on in your head? Are you really doing okay? And I said, yeah, I really am. And the reason is because in recovery, they teach us acceptance is the answer to all of my problems today. The sooner that I can get into acceptance around where I'm at, what I can control, what I can't control, and accepting where I am, the faster then I can get out of myself and get into the service of others. So a lot of you have seen me create a group and start a prayer group and start all of these things to add value, because that's what gets me through. If I'm stuck inside of my head, or if I stay here and I make it all about me, then I put my recovery in jeopardy. I am not happy. I am miserable. And then lastly, I rely on God. Now, you've heard me say this before. I don't care who your God is. It can be your highest self. It could be Mother Nature. It can be the doorknob. It can be anything, as long as you don't believe that it's yourself, that you believe in there's something bigger than you, and that allows you to get out of yourself. And so when I really think back, right, over the last 8 years, and you wake up and you're on a really cold cement floor, and you can't remember anything that happened the night before. And then you get out of jail, which is what happened, and you get home and you have to see your family, and you have to explain to them that you don't remember what happened, and that there's some pretty heavy charges because something pretty big did happen and you don't remember any of it. And then you call the police station to find out where your car is, and they tell you that it's being held an investigation of a vehicular homicide. And so you really, at that moment in your life, have to realize that something is not right. And for some of us, it takes getting to that really, really hard bottom to realize and to accept that we have a problem, and that something is going on internally that is causing us to seek outside, and self-medicate outside of ourselves to fill that God-sized hole inside. And so as I started, to rebuild my life, because I realized that the only thing left for me was to die, or for someone else to die, and then I might as well be dead, because I would be in prison and I wouldn't be living a life, right? And so I had to get into acceptance. And acceptance is a verb. It requires action. And I'm going to talk a lot about what acceptance is and what the difference between certain things like awareness and acceptance is. And I think this is really big for us right now, because I think what we haven't realized, and if we look around, is that a lot of people are going through the 5 stages of grief. We're all experiencing loss right now, whether it's loss of a loved one, it's loss of our social interaction, it's a loss of business, a loss of money. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that can put us into the 5 stages of grief, which are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. Now, they're not necessarily all in that order either, and we can go in and out of them. Yet what I've learned is the faster that I can get into acceptance, the faster I can stop the cycle. Because once I'm in acceptance, then I'm able to move forward, right? I'm able to start, okay, I accept where I am. I accept what's happening around me. Now I can take action and come up with a plan on how to survive through it, right? Which is what I did. Once I was able to accept the fact that I had gotten myself into a lot of trouble and that I had a problem, then I was able to say, okay, now where can I go to fix it or help fix it? And then I could come up with the plan, right? how to accept everything and move forward. It's an active process that has to be practiced every day, right? Every day, sometimes I have to get up and I have to get into acceptance. So when all of this started happening, I'm going into week 4 of quarantine. The first week and a half, every morning I prayed and I was like, let me have acceptance around where I am. It is what it is, right? And I would lean into what's in the future. What's the worst that could happen? Okay, the worst that could happen is that I lose business. The worst that happens is that I don't have the money to pay my mortgage, right? Okay, let's say that happens. Then what? Then what would I do, right? The worst that could happen is that my mom could get sick. Okay, great. Then what would I do if that happened? And what I came to realize is that I would figure it out like I always do, right? It may not be ideal. I'm not saying that acceptance means that you feel good about it. I'm not saying that acceptance means that it feels warm and fuzzy and it's what you want. That's not what it's about. Sometimes acceptance is just saying, okay, it is what it is. I don't have to good, bad, like it, not like it. It just is. And so when I can get into the acceptance that I can say, okay, I'm not going to like it yet, I would figure out a way to make money. Right? No job is beneath me. So I would figure it out, right? I would also know where to seek help. So again, it's practicing it every day and asking yourself, what is it that I'm trying to control that I've absolutely no control over that I need to start moving towards getting into acceptance? It's usually accepting our present circumstances. It's usually accepting the way people are around us or the people around us that we can't control and accepting them for who they are. I've learned, I'll give a little thing away. Most of you know now, but my 40th birthday is on Thursday. And, the last probably 2-3 years have been major growth for me in kind of finding myself, becoming centered and happy, truly having self-acceptance, because that's a huge thing about accepting me for who I am and not seeking outside validation for that. And I've learned to believe people when they show you who they are, right? And accepting the fact that they're going to show up however they show up, and that it should not have a direct effect on the way that I show up. And that it's okay to love people and accept them for who they are and not necessarily have them in your circle, right? They might just not be someone that you want to be around all the time, yet you accept them for who they are. You accept them for the place that they have in your life so that you can then move on and be at peace and you're not carrying that relationship. I think part of acceptance is realizing what you're powerless over, which is that lack of control, right? I am powerless over the state of the country right now. I am powerless over the virus. I am powerless over the way that other people show up and what they say and what they do. Yet there is something bigger that I can lean on, right? And sometimes I have to, in order to get into acceptance, I have to build it into either my prayer, my meditation, my affirmations, right? Affirmations we've talked about that when we talked about the I am statement. I am accepting my current situation, right? I am accepting so-and-so as they are. And sometimes we have to self-talk our way and into the acceptance. Now be careful. Awareness and acceptance are not the same thing. I can be aware of something that's happening and not be in full acceptance around it. And once I accept it, right, awareness is the first step. I have to be aware of it in order to move into acceptance. Also remember that acceptance doesn't mean giving up, right? Acceptance doesn't mean, okay, I accept it, now I just have to stop working towards something, right? Again, acceptance is accepting where you are today. You don't want to go too far out into the future because you can't predict the future. I don't need to accept that I might be somewhere 90 days from now or 100 days from now or 2 years from now. I just need to accept my present situation and where my feet are right now, right? One of my favorite things to do is to say, at whatever time it is, at 7:16 on Monday night, I accept where I am and I don't have to make any decisions at just this moment. I can wait. I can wait until I get into more acceptance around it. Yeah, we don't need to go so far out, and we don't have to think that just because we're in acceptance, we can't change. You can still work through the change, right? I can accept my weight where it is today so that I'm not beating myself up all the time, yet I can still work towards losing weight in order to be at the goal that I want to be at. So again, it's accepting where you are right now. Remember that by rejecting and resisting things, you're causing undue stress. And we have to ask ourselves, what am I doing to contribute to the space that I'm in right now? What am I doing to contribute to the outcome? And the sooner that you can stop resisting and get into acceptance, and again, that's leaning in to the uncomfortability, it's leaning in to the thing that you need to accept and saying what is what is, and I'm okay with it. I don't have to like it, but I'm okay with it. So just remember that the more that you resist and the more that you reject and the harder you push against acceptance, you're causing yourself undue stress. And that is something that you can control, right? I can't control other people. I can't control certain outside influences, yet I can control whether or not I'm willing to accept them. I'll give you an example. I suffered some loss last year, and not in the form of death and not in the form of someone passing, yet a pretty big loss. And I, went through the end of the year and, got to like January, and I was talking to a friend and I said, I'm just really in a depressive place and I don't know why. I'm not a naturally depressive person. And she said to me, Brindley, have you considered the fact that you may be going through or have been going through the stages of grief? You suffered a pretty big loss, something that you didn't think you were going to lose. And have you thought about it? And guys, it was like, as soon as she said it, and I had awareness around the fact that I had been in the stage of depression, I got into acceptance like that. And sometimes, again, it brings the awareness and talking about it and where we're at to then realize how we can move into acceptance. And sometimes it's someone else recognizing it or someone else asking the question, so what? What if that does happen? Right? What is the worst that can happen? Okay, great. Let's talk about that. Let's lean into it so that we can accept where our current state is and know that we're going to be okay in the future and that we're going to concentrate on what we can control. Couple more things before I let you go. It can be practiced in all areas of life. So it is, again, a daily practice that we need to be asking ourselves every day. What am I resisting? What am I rejecting? What am I not moving into acceptance about? And usually it's something that you're upset about, something that is a very strong field of emotions. We're typically, when we're emotional, is when we're not in acceptance. Acceptance typically comes when we're able to get into a more logical place around things. And when we have the emotion, it's very difficult to get into. Sometimes we can accept intellectually, that was my final note, but we can't accept emotionally. In our heads, we can say, I get it. In our hearts, in our emotion, it just hurts so much, or we're so angry that we can't move into it. So it's, again, going intellectually and leaning on that if you need to first, to say, okay, intellectually, how do I accept this? Now let's evaluate the emotion and ask myself, use the story wheel, use self-talk, use some of those tools to start to calm the emotion so that you can get into acceptance emotionally. And then, the last thing, guys, is self-acceptance. It all starts with us. Everything starts with us, because that's the only thing that we 110% can control, is ourselves. And the faster that we can get into self-acceptance, I realized this weekend that, so Mom and I have been doing family dinners every weekend, and we've been bringing back a meal from the past. And one of my favorite things as a kid was sloppy joes and French fries. Well, I did sweet potato fries to be a little bit on the good side. Yet I woke up Saturday morning Sunday morning. We had it 2 nights in a row, and I felt awful. And it was the first time that I had had bread or any type of carbohydrates probably in about 3 months. And I just felt yucky. And I just said to myself, I don't want to feel that way anymore. And it's okay. Is it worth it to have a snack and a sweet every once in a while to feel that way? And again, that's for me, I've got to make sure that I feel good, because that's what I have control over. I have control over what I put in my body that's going to make me feel good. Again, if I resist and I reject, then I'm probably going to feel poopy. If I accept, I'm going to feel better about where I'm at. So I hope this week that you will take this and ask yourself, what are some things that maybe you're not accepting that if you did, you would feel better. And then lean into those. And if you need help, reach out. I'm more than happy to take you through some exercises that can help you get into acceptance. Just private message me, Brindley Tucker, or you can email me, brindley@brindleytucker.com, brindley@brindleytucker.com, or text me, 727-512-9098. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.